What's going on, everyone? So I've had a lot of interest in the salvage flip cars that I've been doing. A lot of people have had a lot of questions for me, so I'm going to try to answer some of the most common questions and give you an idea. I think the biggest question is, how do you know what to look for? So I'm going to run through all of this as quickly as possible, and we're going to start with not all states will allow you to bid on cars as the general public. Some require you to have a dealer's license. Now, there is usually a way around that. And I want to start out by saying I am not affiliated with any of the companies I'm about to show you. There's no bonuses, there's no referral money, there's absolutely no affiliation at all. You can go to this place, which I saw on Sam Crack's channel, called eRepairables. And eRepairables is a place that I think it's basically a broker, so that you can bid through their website on cars that you're interested in, even without a dealer's license. That's how I think it works, but I'm not 100%. Now, if you're lucky like me and you're in a state where you can pretty much bid on anything and everything you want to, let me help you figure out, or if you finally get into eRepairables and you're ready to start bidding, what do I look for? Now, I've always had a real talent when it comes to cars, not just fixing them, but finding the right ones, buying the right ones. I have been very successful. My best month, many years ago, mind you, was over $10,000 in a single month in Kansas from buying and flipping cars. But these were not salvage cars. These were cars I found on Craigslist that needed work. I would bring them home, repair them, and then flip them. Now, these salvage cars, I find these to be, so far, a lot easier. Over the last two cars, I've made right at $2,000 profit, $1,000 per car, and in generally about a week. So, $1,000 in a week to a week and a half is pretty good money. I can live with that. But what do I look for? So when it comes to a salvage car, these are some of the ones I'm looking at. I'll show you this one right here. And the ones that I really love are ones called pure sales. A pure sale. This is Copart. And what a pure sale is, it means that whatever this vehicle sells for is what it sells for. Now, there's others that are on approval. I'll see if I can pick one of those up real quick. I think it's, this is one. I'm looking at this one. They want, you can buy it now. Some of them you can buy right now. All right, this one is buy it now for $1,550. Don't forget that you have to include the fees, which are pretty significant. But this one, it's a never bid, which means nobody's bid on it, and it's a minimum bid sale. You click the question mark, and it says the seller has placed a reserve price on the lot. If the minimum bid is not surpassed during the virtual auction, the seller has until 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific, one business day after the sale to accept the bid. So if you do not meet the minimum of $1,550, which would have been the buy it now, there's a reserve on it. You may win it, and you may not. You just don't know. So pure sales are what I really look for. So here, let's go back to this. This is one that is a pure sale, and it's one that I'm watching. Now, I have been to the Copart location. I've already inspected this vehicle, and what I found is that there is suspension damage. Not much, but this wheel right here is number one, the wheel's bent. That's got to be replaced. Number two, the control arm is bent, so the control arm on this side is going to have to be replaced. Now, as far as the damage to this vehicle, all it is cosmetic. There is no structural damage. It's strictly cosmetic, isolated to right here, this fender, and this portion of the bumper. Now you look at other pictures of the car, it's a really nice SUV. It does have high mileage, 187,000 miles. There we go. There's scuff right there as well. But other than that, interior is clean. It runs good. I checked all the fluids. Everything looks fine. Engine bay needs cleaned up, considerably. But there's not even a check engine light. There's nothing. So this thing actually runs great. And with a little bit of suspension work, no cosmetic work, I wouldn't put any money into cosmetics. I would replace that wheel, replace the control arm, and then I would send it to an alignment shop to get the alignment done. And this thing would be, ready to flip. So there's no buy it now on this one. This is a pure sale, which means whatever the final bid is on it, that is what it's going to sell for. And this is a decent flip. This is a decent flip. Something like this will probably go for maybe $1,200. probably at best $1,200, and I could see selling it for around $25. Here's another one. This is an '08 Suzuki XL7. This is not something you would see every day, but I've also already inspected this one. This is, again, a pure sale. Never bid. Minimum bid is $125 to start out with. Now, this is a very good running vehicle. It runs great. The engine sounds good. I've checked all the fluids. It all looks good. Suspension looks good. Interior and exterior needs a serious cleaning. But this is a decent vehicle. You do have a bend right here. You can see a pretty decent dent there. I don't know if my body guy could get that out reasonably priced or not. If not, leave it. The interior is very dirty. It's mainly dust, but it needs a serious interior cleaning. Those back seats are they're horrible. So definitely needs a cleaning. 134,000 miles, the AC works, and the only damage to this vehicle other than that dent in the back that I showed you is the bumper. The bumper is just torn up, but there is no other damage. Tires are practically new all the way around. They match. Fluids are all good, like I said, and I've already got a bumper on my watch list through eBay. I found the bumper for $69, same color, excellent condition, shipping for $109. So, you're talking about $180 for a bumper to put on here, plus the price of the car. I don't know what this one will go for. I don't. It's not a very common SUV. It's not something you see every day, so it's probably going to be a little more difficult to sell, to flip. This thing will probably go for $1,200-$1,300, I'm guessing, plus Copart fees, and I would say I could probably sell it for $3,000 to $3,500 once it's put back together. So what I look for are cars that have minor damage. If it needs some plastics replaced, that's fine. I'll show you another one. A more severe issue is this Ford Fiesta that I'm looking at. Now, this one doesn't look so bad, but it's going to need a lot of work. All of these lines, this is from a body shop, and this is showing where damage is to the vehicle. See if I can click on HD to keep it from zooming in. So, anything that's got a green line on it, that's something that's going to have a problem. Same thing with the red marks. There are issues with this. These are scratches. The red lines there are showing scratch damage. Interior's nice. Mileage is fairly low. It runs great. Everything appears to be fine with it. It basically needs a whole new front end and a core support and I think 1 or 2 headlight assemblies to basically put it back to reasonable looking condition. This one too, as you can see, minimum bid, which means there's a reserve on it, and it may or may not surpass that. Who knows? But that's another one that I would be interested. Something with light damage. I've also had pretty good luck with the last flood car, so I'll keep an eye on that. Here is something else. This is a 2006 Honda Odyssey EXL. Now these usually sell pretty well. People love minivans, at least in my market, and the Honda Odyssey is the king of minivans. It is considered to be the safest, the most reliable. It's also highly priced. The Honda Odyssey runs over $40,000. This is the EXL. This has 204,000 miles. And the damage of this, if you're looking at it and wondering what's wrong with it, well, it says right here, primary damage is hail. Estimated retail value is $47.79. That's not private party. That's estimated retail. So this is it's a gorgeous van. Obviously needs some cleaning. All of these cars are going to need a good detail, really good cleaning. But I checked this one out too. Runs great. No check engine light, anything. Probably drives just fine. Totaled because of hail. Hail is strictly cosmetic. Nothing else, just cosmetic. You can buy this right now for $1,550. I mean, quite literally. $1,500. You can have yourself an '06 Honda Odyssey that's probably good to go for a long time. Probably will drive down the road just fine. And, something like that, even with a rebuilt title, it'll cost me, next to nothing. It costs $20. A lot of people ask, how do you get a title rebuilt? It varies state to state. You better check into this before you jump into this. In my state, you don't even have to take the vehicle. If you know the right people, you can literally just go in with the title, pay the title and tax fees on it, and transfer it. And it will come back to you as a rebuilt title with you doing absolutely no work at all. So this is something I'm still considering. In fact, while I was there, I almost bought it. I almost just gave them the $1,500 for it and bought it right then, because something tells me that minivan is probably a very solid minivan. Here's another one. If you're comfortable doing body work, this car right here is a 2011 Chrysler 200 Touring. Now, I checked this out thoroughly because this is another one. If I had more money, I'd be buying a lot more cars, I could tell you that. This is one that is difficult. Interior, exterior is great. Low miles. The only damage seems to be... I hate how it zooms in like that. The only damage really seems to be to the cosmetics. When it comes to these right here, these are your frame rails, all right? This is the main frame that runs through your car, and the entire front end attaches to this. Now, sometimes you get in a wreck, it crunches them in, or it twists them up, and you got a problem. Well, this lower support bracket here is in perfect condition. The frame rails, I checked them thoroughly. They are straight. They're not tweaked at all. All of the hoses, fittings, and everything are there. A lot of the parts are still in the trunk. When you look at the actual damage, the damage consists of this hole in the bumper, and the core support right here has a few light cracks. It didn't even destroy the core support, just cracked it. But because this car is missing so many pieces, now let's see if we can go back some so I can show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, this car is missing a lot of parts. The bumper needs to be replaced, obviously. Core support needs to be replaced. There's a lot of little nuts, bolts, screws, and clips that have to be replaced that are missing in action. The radiator, the condenser, the radiator cooling fans, all this stuff is missing. On top of fluids, it's going to need transmission fluid because obviously the transmission cooler is missing. It's part of the radiator, the coolant. This thing, when I priced it out, is going to cost me about $4,000. I found all the parts painted this color already, but it's going to cost me $4,000, including the price of the car. So, you know, about $2,000 for the car and about $2,000 to replace the missing parts, and a considerable amount of time. So what else can you do? You can type in 200, and it should bring us a list of Chrysler 200s. And what you can do is go through them and find one that is basically totaled, screwed beyond repair, something in a rear end collision or a side impact or a burn, vandalism, theft, whatever. You can literally go through these, and you know, this one's not perfect. The front end is not perfect, but it does have the majority of the parts that you're going to need. This is a pure sale. This is a Virginia certificate of salvage, so you probably have to pay to have it shipped to you. $1,500 to have it shipped, I mean, that kind of doesn't make it economical. So you're probably going to want to find something a little closer to where you are at so that it makes it a little more reasonable. Here's one with a side impact. I know it's not the same color, so that's going to require paint. But, you know, the other car needs a hood, bumper, and basically all of the cosmetics on the front. The fenders are good on that car. So if you could find yourself something like this at a reasonable price, pure sale, never bid, again, shipping is just a little ridiculous. But the time that it's going to save you from having to hunt down all the nuts, bolts, and the little plastic clips, all the other little pieces that are going to be missing, you're better off just to buy the whole car. And it's a pain in the ass, which is why I haven't bought it yet. Because by the time you buy the next car, now you've got two cars sitting in your yard. You have to swap all the parts from one car to the other, preferably finding one that's the same color. And it can be a pain, but it can be done. You'll save a lot of money on paint if you can find one that matches the color. That's obviously not it. But swap all those parts over, then you have an entire parts car with an engine, transmission in good working condition, rims, tires, seats, dashboard, airbags, all kinds of components that you can turn around and resell, and you'll find you can make more than your money back on the second car just in selling those parts alone, plus you now have your completed car. But again, that is a task that is going to be very time consuming. It's going to be a real pain in the ass. So not for everybody, and that's one of the reasons I have not purchased it yet, because I just don't think I'm ready to take on a job that big. Personally, a lot of people say that there's no money in flipping these cheap cars. I disagree. I have proven that there's money in it because I have made $1,000 profit on each one of the cars I've flipped just thus far on this channel. And that's good money for a week's work, you know? And here's another one. This one is a buy it now for $1,050. This one needs a tire. The rim is actually good. The tire is blown. As you can see, you know, you could replace the fender. You could replace the hood. You could replace the bumper. The fender flare on this side is actually still good. It's complete in the trunk, unbroken. So, you know, you're looking at a bumper, a corner light, a front grille, a fender. You could replace the hood. This thing right here doesn't need much work. It doesn't need much work at all. And that should be an easy $2,000, maybe $2,500 flip for a decent Jeep Liberty if you could clean it up. Here's where I'm coming from. I've got a lot of experience selling cars, and let me tell you something. You can buy some high-end cars on here. You can get some very nice cars. You could buy a BMW. You could buy a Lexus, and you could rebuild it. And it can also take you months to sell it. When you deal with these cheap cars, sure, you don't make a lot of money from each sale, but they sell fast. I've never had a problem selling a cheap car. As you've seen, I have bought, fixed, and flipped 2 cars in basically 2 weeks. You know why? Because tons of people have $3,500 laying around. Tons of people have $2,500 laying around. These are cars people have money to buy, and there's a market for them right now. Other cars, especially when you get to higher-end cars, you know, get you into some Cadillacs and BMW stuff, people are a lot more leery and skeptical about spending $10,000 on a rebuilt car that they don't really know anything about. I've had so many people comment, text me and say, hey, man, that's a great looking car for $2,500. If it blows up next week, who cares? You know, that's a good price. So when you're dealing with cars that I would say are under the $4,000 price range, you could sell these cars fast, make your money, move on to the next one. I look for pure sales. I look for buy it nows. I always keep track of what the fees are. I go and inspect them in person when possible so that I can assess the damage up front. I look for parts on eBay. I look for parts at my local LKQ yard, pull-apart yard, places where I can get a visual on what's available, what it takes to get it done, and I can get a pretty good idea of how much I'm going to be into it, and I know how much I'm going to be able to sell it for. And the crazy thing is, you can sell some of these salvage vehicles at Kelley Blue Book suggested private party prices, and people will pay them. Hey, I tell everybody the same thing. People say, oh, that's a ripoff. You don't understand business. Business works like this. An item is worth what somebody is willing to pay for it. So if I can take one of these cars and flip them at close to retail or private party value, there's no shame in that, because apparently the person that bought it felt like it was worth it. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. So let's get away from Copart. You also have IAA. This is another local auction that I have. These are showing New Jersey. Why it's showing New Jersey, I don't know. But let's put in my old address in Midwest City and see what comes up over there. Here we go. 97 Honda Accord value. Buy it now, $350. All right. Now 97's, that's a little old, but it's a Honda. All right. It's a Honda Accord. So there may be some money here. Rear end collision doesn't look like it was significant. Looks like it damaged the trunk latch, maybe the trunk. I don't see any bends in the fender anywhere. Not a pretty car. Definitely not a pretty car. But, you know, this is something for $350, 200,000 miles, did not test start. This is something you're going to want to go out there and really check that out. You know, $350 plus fees, maybe it'd be worth looking into. For me personally, it's just not. Here's an 03 Nissan Altima, flood car, $550. 03 Windstar, $264. All right, now these are not cars that I would personally be interested in, but you know, maybe some of you would. A 2015 Dodge Journey, it's probably going to have significant side damage, as you can see. But you don't have to actually flip these cars. You could take a car like this, buy it, and just part it out, especially something newer like that. You can make your money plus quite a bit back. You know, I've looked through this auction already. I haven't really seen much that I'm interested in. This one's $800 for an 02 Camry. it's dented up pretty good. But, you know, it could make a good Uber car. It's filthy. Does this one run and drive? Front and rear mechanical damage. Vehicle won't start. So, you know, scratch that. Anything that says mechanical damage, it doesn't mean I'm not interested in it. I will go, if the body and interior look decent, I'll go look at it. And if I can find out that it's something simple, you know, something that's not too big of a deal, I'll go ahead and bid on it anyway, because I'm a damn good mechanic. Here's an 08 Altima 3.5 SE 2800. You know, you can find some good deals. I am not actually registered on IAA yet. It's further away than Copart. Copart is right down the street from me. IAA's prices are similar. Their fees are similar. There's really not that much of a difference between them. But right now, I'm just going to stick with Copart. This isn't too bad. That's airbags are not deployed. Definitely needs some plastics, you know, glued back onto the front. Oh, almost 300,000 miles. Yeah, you know, but still, how much is it? $975. You can go buy it now. That's not bad. That's not bad. Did it start? Mechanical. Vehicle starts, though. Vehicle starts. So there you are, guys. IAA, Copart. I highly recommend Copart. Again, there's no affiliation with any of these companies. If you're in a state where you cannot bid as a public, you know, as the general public, you're going to need to go to someplace like eRepairables or find yourself what they call a broker. You can usually find them. There is a small fee for using them. That's just how it goes. But there's money to be made, and I'm showing you that. And me personally, I would get cheap cars and flip the cheap cars, make some quick money, and move on to the next one. But if you're looking for a nice car, you know, for personal use, you can definitely find some great deals on some high-end cars from these places. I got to get out of here. I hope you found the video helpful. Any questions or comments, leave them below. And until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and stay safe out there.